So what is up, everyone? So some of you know, some of my closer friends, that I got the good old COVID for the past few days, and now that I finally broke my fever and I feel back to halfway normal, I just was very excited to get started on something. So I busted out this good old F-150 that we got a while back, and I've been wanting to get going. And the first thing I had to do was start tearing apart these differentials. I've already torn the front apart, and I'm glad I did. Not only did I have to put bearings in it, because when William started building it, he used the bushings. But as you can see inside here, and this could just be because it's been setting for so long, but this has very little grease, and it's had very little grease throughout this whole section. And as I said, this is sitting in his closet from 1995 till now, and there were some grease spots in the bottom of that box. I think it's just kind of leaked out over time, so I'm glad I tore it apart. But I need to tear apart the rear end next to get started, and I'm also kind of curious on whether this is a Mabachi or a Johnson. I won't know until I get it out of there. So I'm going to get going on that, and I know that a lot of you wanted to see more of a long-term full build on it, but I don't know if I'm quite up to that yet, so it probably is going to be closer to like a picture build and some explanations along the way. But either way, I'm very excited to get this project going, so let's just get started. Look at that, it is a Johnson, and I own a few of these, but this is the newest, brand newest Johnson motor I have ever owned. This thing is so clean. Awesome. Alright, I'm going to get the rest of this torn apart and get back with you. I've got the rear end completely apart, and I wanted to open up the ball diff just to inspect it, make sure all the washers were going the right way and that it was greased up, and it is. It all looks really good in there. I'm going to add a little extra grease and then reassemble it and slap it back in, and we should be good. We got that all put back together and switched our hockey pucks out with some actual bearings. And that's all in there nice and smooth. Look at that. So I'm just going to re-grease everything and then put this cap back on, and that'll finish up step 2. Well, moved on to step 3, and that was just simple. Just screw on each one of these 17 holes on your adjustment for your pinion. And then after that, step 4 is just getting this slid back into place. And let's see, it shows our arrow guide pointed down. It should just slide into those 2 holes. Yep. And now I just got to put a screw with a washer on each side of that right there. So we've moved on to step 5 and 6, and 5 was just reassembling these gears, and they all went together nice and smooth, no problems whatsoever. And they'll just pop down in here and here and over here, and there we go. That is all spinning the way it should be. So the other part of this step is just to grease this all up and put the cap on. And then you got step 7 and 8. I'm probably just going to do these off camera real quick and get back with you afterwards. It's just literally putting on like, you know, your shock tower support with your arms going out to your A-arms. So all pretty simple basic stuff there. So we're all the way through step 9, and everything went together beautifully here. And you know, this was started by William over at Hello Southeast Alaska, and he said he didn't finish the kit because it was giving him problems. But as I've taken his work apart and, you know, re-greased it and reassembled it, I think he did a really good job. Everything was together the way it was supposed to be, and I think he was doing fine. But we're going to be moving on to step 10, and that's this front differential. And all I really have to do to it is just add some extra grease and put it back together. But what I thought was kind of one of the interesting things about the kit is, why do you go through all the trouble of putting in a ball differential on one differential and then a regular, you know, 3-gear differential on the front? Seems like if you're going to use a ball differential, you might as well use it on front and back, or if you're going to use this, might as well stick with that on front and back. But well, you know, I don't design these things, I just build them. So I'm going to get that slapped together and get back with you. Oh, step 10's all finished up. Get that put back in and replace the hockey pucks with bearings. And of course I want to re-grease everything. I do like the way this kit is going together though. It does go together really nice. Most Tamiya kits do. I'm just going to be adding a little bit of grease and brushing that in. This is how I do the grease on all of my gears. Then I'll rotate that around and keep adding grease as I go and brush it all in. And for me, this has always just worked out to be a really good way to do it. Alright, just a little tiny bit more. For me, I believe that, you know, there's no such thing as too much grease. Too little does damage. Okay, now that we're back through that, then we should just be able to pop our cap back on there. Let me look at the instructions, see what direction it goes. And there we go. I'm going to slap those screws in and call that section a day. I finished up steps all the way through 12 and 13. That's just reinstalling these gears, and I went ahead and got them all greased up and replaced all the bushings with bearings. And I'm going to go through steps 14, 15, 16, and 17 off camera real quick, because those are just reassembling the A-arms, and those are pretty much the same on just about everything. Pretty simple stuff. But then after that we get into 18, which is going to be the shocks. And that'll be interesting.
Well, we have reached completion. I know I started off and I was talking through the sections, but it was still a little too early. It was just hard to keep my voice up, so I went ahead and did a picture build real quick. And once I started building on this thing, I didn't want to stop. And wow, I think this is just a super sharp looking truck. I love that. I used a metallic blue and then white and backed it in silver. To get my panel line proper, I cut my stickers out first but left them on the backer and masking taped them to the outside. That way I could follow the inside for my masking. And that worked pretty good. And it's got nice plops pretty nicely. I think one of the problems I'm going to have is it is going to rub a little bit on the fenders. I'll find out more when we get it out for the first run. So I'm hoping to take it out tonight and give it a try. And then I'll have a run video for you guys in the next few days. I ended up going with a 60 amp ESC. And getting out of focus there. And then I used the Charisma CTX 8000 that came out of my van. And that servo I won off of another Tamiya build-off when I built my hotshot, actually. So I won 3rd place on that and won a servo. So it's kind of fitting that it ended up inside of another Tamiya. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this. It's kind of a unique build. You don't see a whole lot of these out there much anymore. Then, you know, I'm going to run it. So stay tuned for that. Smash that like on the way out. I greatly appreciate it, and I hope you have a great day.